This is a Vaguely Nerdy podcast where every week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss box office and the latest in film and TV scoops, along with our latest movie or show review and what we're getting into next. We're your host, Cheryl.
And Jay.
Once again, showing that we record these new every time because I just jacked it up. So, on this week's episode, we watch Godzilla X Kong The Frozen Empire. It's actually not called The Frozen Empire, but it could have been now that we have seen the movie. But Jay is on deck to ask me trivia. So, what you got?
Okay, so trivia for Godzilla X Kong. There is a character in this film named Trapper who's played by an actor, Dan Stevens. He's the one white guy in the movie. Mm-hmm. His appearance was based off of two legendary actors, older white guys who are still acting in blockbuster films today.
Okay.
His appearance and personality.
Who are
those two?
Indiana Jones.
Actors, not characters.
Actors.
I mean, he looks like younger versions of both of them, so.
It actually didn't help me at all.
One is in the MCU. Well, both of them have played actors in the MCU.
Okay. Don't give me any more. So his Robert Downey Jr.?
Older.
The heck is older than Robert Downey Jr. and...
They do play main characters.
In the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blanking really badly. Okay, can I get a movie?
No, that would give it away.
Okay.
They're both dads in the MCU.
Oh, okay. Kurt Russell.
Okay, that's one.
And I needed something. I just needed something. So Kurt Russell, and who else was a horrible dad? Anthony Hopkins.
No.
Okay. Josh Brolin?
No, think of Trapper.
I'm thinking of Trapper. Kurt Russell for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
I
don't know why I went to bad dads. Really struggling. And they both are older white actors in the MCU. Oh, it's not. Is it Jeff Goldblum?
No. Jeff Goldblum doesn't play a dad. Neither does Josh Brolin.
Technically, he was an adopted
father.
Well,
his appearance and personality was not based on Trapper from Godzilla vs. Kong.
His character kind of reminds me of Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, though. So maybe that's kind of why I took it that way.
Okay.
I don't know who the other person is.
You ready?
Yes.
It's Michael Douglas.
Oh, I wouldn't have got that.
He looks like a younger version of Michael Douglas.
He does, but I was so focused on how they look in the movies, maybe. That's why Kurt Russell came so quick. Once you said dad, I was like, he kind of looked like a young Kurt Russell.
Yeah, for the character of Trapper, Dan Stevens based him off of Michael Douglas and Kurt Russell, specifically from Romancing the Stone and Big Trouble in Little China.
Okay, I could see it. I liked his character
he was okay.
in the movie. Okay. All right, well, let's get into this week's episode.
Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, so we have it's kind of a short agenda this week. We got a couple movie news announcements, one car in the trailer park, and then a few quick bits that we'll go over. We'll start off here at the top with our first bit of movie news, and that is Pirates of the Caribbean is getting totally rebooted, which we didn't know. We knew they were trying to keep this franchise alive, and there was like rumors that they were going to get Johnny Depp to come back. There are rumors that there's a Margot Robbie led movie that they want to do, but it sounds like Jerry Bruckheimer said, we scrapping all this and we starting over.
Yeah.
Which is probably what they should do anyway. I think.
I don't think they should reboot Pirates of the Caribbean. I think they should leave it dead.
Oh, okay. You're like keep her in a grave. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think this is. Here's the thing: the first three Pirates of the Caribbean classics, critically acclaimed, all of them.
I mean, I could watch them over and over until the end of time.
Well, I think At World's End is in the top 10 highest grossing films of all time. It's definitely up there if it's not still in the top 10.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But it was one. They all were one of the highest grossing movies of all time after each one of their releases. Mm-hmm. And those roles
Are iconic by themselves.
The roles are iconic by themselves. The characters are iconic by themselves. I don't think this would be the same as like recasting MCU actors. Because people are like, oh, if they reboot the MCU, they can just recast the characters.
Like do another Iron Man, another Captain America.
Right. Because I'm like, okay, that could kind of...
Well, they do that in the comics, though, too. So.
Well, that makes sense because these are these actors are not the characters. These characters have existed in comics for forever.
Right.
The characters in Pirates of the Caribbean were just recently created.
Yeah,
like there was a ride that was at Disney World, but they didn't have like characters. They created these roles for this film. And the ride didn't even come from a story.
No, so, I don't think so.
I don't think it's been long enough to reboot it.
I think they're trying to keep the wave of pirates before people forget about it, but I don't know if they try to do this, they're going to try to recapture new people who maybe have never seen any of the pirates, and they're going to try to keep a hold of us who have loved the pirates. Not all the pirates. The first, I'll just say the trilogy, because I don't know what was going on with the other two movies. They're going to try to keep us and reel us back in, kind of like Scream. They're trying to do Scream. They're trying to reboot it with a new popular cast, and then hopes everybody either catches the wave as new people or jumps back on from old people. Yeah, I mean from us older people.
Scream 4 came out in 2011.
Okay.
And Scream 5 didn't come out till like 2022. Oh, so they rated the proper amount of time before they rebooted Scream.
Fair enough.
Pirates of the Caribbean, the last good Pirates of the Caribbean was
a
while ago.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they made 3 more after that one, after the good one. So Pirates hasn't been at rest long enough for it to be rebooted.
I don't disagree with you.
Also, before you reboot a franchise, you have to wait long enough for everybody to get older and forget, and for those films to kind of age. So it makes sense to reboot it.
There's no nostalgia yet.
To be frank, Jerry Bruckheimer is 80.
Is he really?
He's 80 years old.
I didn't know that.
And
not that I would, but
the amount of time it would take for pirates to be at rest before it would be a good idea.
Oh, he might be in the upper room.
He could be either in the upper room or too old to still be directing. And that's not ageist, but
yeah, I mean,
directing a film. I mean, you know what? Ask Martin Scorsese. And he'll tell you how strenuous it is on the body to be as old as he is and still be directing films.
Right. The At World's End came out in 2007, and the last one, Dead Man Tells No Tales, came out in 2017. So it's only been 5 years.
Yeah, that's not long enough.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they also had Jack Sparrow in there.
And a version of
nobody
Legolas I did not like. I'm blanking on his name, but you know what I'm talking
Orlando
about.
Bloom?
Yes.
I mean, at least it was still Orlando Bloom.
I did not like how they did that man in that last movie.
Because they shouldn't have did those 3 movies.
You're right. It's actually only 2.
Well, 2.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have done those movies.
I agree. You're right. I'm with you. They need to let it lie for a little bit longer, and Jerry Bruckheimer can write it in his last will and testament how they should go. Yeah. Just in case.
I think the excuse that it's easier to put together now because you don't have to wait for certain actors is a poor excuse.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start over anyway.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start over anyway. Most of these actors don't want to come back to Pirates.
I don't think so. I think they've moved on from Pirates. They're gonna do like Ghostbusters, where they're gonna bring them back and people gonna be like, I don't really think y'all need us to do that
and do nothing with them. Also, there's no Pirates of the Caribbean without Johnny Depp. I'm sorry, there isn't. There's no Pirates of the Caribbean without Captain Jack Sparrow. Captain Jack Sparrow is the reason to go. That's like doing a Transformers movie and not putting Optimus Prime in it, which they did, and they did the Bumblebee movie. Oh, you're right. But you know who remembers the Bumblebee movie? Nobody. Because Optimus Prime wasn't in it.
Didn't watch Bumblebee, so I can't even defend or be on against that.
The Bumblebee movie never even comes up in conversation when people talk about the Transformers films because it was forgettable.
No, they don't.
Because they don't have the iconic character.
I agree. You need Jack Sparrow. So you should either wait and reboot it in like 20 years when you can cast a new Jack Sparrow, or just leave it.
Yeah, it needs to be far enough away from Jack Sparrow's last appearance to where it's not jarring when you guys recast somebody who is not as good of a character actor as Johnny Depp is, because I can't think of another person. They be trying to slip Timothée Chalamet in the Johnny Depp areas, and it don't really hit because he's
still young.
And he's not a character actor.
I didn't see Wonka, so I can't. The only thing I've seen that man in is Doom, so I don't know.
There are actors, there are character actors like Willem Dafoe and like Johnny Depp and like Ralph Fiennes or like Benedict Cumberbatch who like can disappear into like roles,
right?
Or like who played Gollum?
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody young now that fits.
They're really trying to build young Hollywood
Robert
up.
Pattinson is a character actor.
He's not doing no Johnny Depp.
But he's not Jack Sparrow.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Even though I doubted that man about Batman, he did an awesome Batman. I don't see him
like,
as
you need
Jack
an actor
Sparrow.
who's a good character actor.
And a little kooky.
Who has name recognition and is just like right on the edge of addiction. But not like crossed over into it, but like just enough. You need an actor who's just enough of a mess.
You kind of got to
pull off.
Keep your eye on him. Like, is you all right?
Yeah.
You coming to set today? Okay, cool.
Yeah, somebody you got to have a risky actor play Jack Sparrow.
Okay, fair enough. So we'll see how this goes. It sounds like they're going to try to start it from scratch, and they don't know what they want to do going forward outside of starting it from scratch.
Yeah. I am still trying to get all of the Pirates in 4K Ultra HD.
Do they have them all?
The first 3.
I was going to say, all of them?
I don't need those last 2. They
probably sell the trilogy just by itself, right?
Well, I've been able to find all 5, but I don't want the other 2.
And I don't want you.
I don't want you.
I don't want you no more. I don't blame you. I would never watch those last 2 again.
I never have. I haven't watched the last 2 twice.
If you are curious how we feel about the last 2 Pirates movies without a review, we don't like them.
They should not exist.
We don't like them.
No.
All right, going on to our next bit of movie news. Kerry Washington and Elisabeth Moss will be in a new book adaptation series on Apple TV. It is going to be based off the book Imperfect Woman, which is a psychological thriller book by Arminita Hall. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. But anyway, it sounds like the book is about, it says the book tells the story of Nancy Hennessy, who was murdered and leaves behind 2 best friends, an adoring husband and daughter, and a secret lover, of course. It's always a secret lover, whose identity she took to the grave. So she was Jolene, maybe, potentially. Nancy was gorgeous, wealthy, and cherished by those who knew her from the outside. Her life was perfect. But an investigation of her death flounders, and her friends Eleanor and Mary, who I'm assuming are going to be Kerry and Elisabeth, wrestle with their grief. Dark details surface that reveal how little of their friend that they knew. It sounds... Didn't Kerry Washington do...
It sounds like a mix between Desperate Housewives and Little Fires Everywhere.
I was literally about to say, didn't Kerry Washington do another TV series that was kind of about like deceit and deception? Yeah,
with Reese Witherspoon.
Elisabeth Moss is from that show I don't watch.
Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
And The Invisible Man.
Right. Which I liked what I've seen of it. I know I need to watch it.
You need to actually watch it.
I know, but I like what I've seen of it. It sounds interesting. Apple TV is notorious for making good TV shows that they don't promote. So this probably actually might be really good.
Yeah. I mean, if they promote their shows, people might actually take a look at them. We've been trying to get people to watch
Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Legacy of Monsters. We just watched We Crashed. That was good.
Severance.
I want to start Foundation.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm the only person who knows those shows exist. Because they never come up in conversation in the outside world.
Never. I have no idea how that Lakeith Stanfield show went. I never went back to watch it because I forgot about it, even though we talked about it.
Yeah.
The Changeling, I think is what it was called.
Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't advertise that either.
So, yeah. Hopefully Elisabeth Washington, Kerry Washington and Elisabeth Moss promote this for Apple. Yep. So people will actually go see it. I do notice that Kerry Washington is in her TV bag.
Yeah.
And not so much her movie bag, which is fine. Not a bad thing.
TV checks come more often.
Yeah, she's definitely, because I can't think the last movie she's been in, but she's been in a lot of good TV shows. Cough, Scandal. Really? That's old. She's got to have been in something since Lakeview Terrace, right?
Django.
Oh, okay. So that's also old.
Hold on, let me take a look at her filmography.
Okay, I was like, what's the last Kerry Washington movie?
She was in Django in 2012.
Okay.
She did voice work in Cars 3 in 2017.
That don't count.
And she's done The School for Good and Evil. That went straight to Netflix.
Right.
So that's technically a film.
Okay. But hey, she found she liked her TV lane. I ain't mad at her.
Yeah.
All right, that's all we have for movie news. It was pretty quiet this week on that front. Next, we will go into our trailer park, which has one whole car in it. But it's a nice car, I think.
Oh, no.
What?
We got to backtrack into our Kerry Washington discussion for a little bit.
Skirt, skirt, skirt.
Kerry Washington is set to star as character Charity Adams in a movie called 6888, which is an upcoming American war drama film.
With Tyler Perry.
Written and directed.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot all about that. There was a picture that came out.
Carrie, I'm so sorry.
I mean, it's different, though. It's
I mean,
a
at least
different
she's
Tyler Perry
she's
film.
the top billing actress, at least.
Kerry Washington would
the
like
main
her
character.
some Tyler Perry,
It's
though.
going to star Carrie. Wow, I'm sorry. we're sidetracking.
No. It's news.
This is an extra piece of news.
Not on our list, but go ahead.
This movie is going to star Kerry Washington, who's known for being Kerry Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Waterston from Law and Order.
Oh, I like Sam.
Susan Sarandon.
Oh, okay.
Ebony Obsidian.
Why does Ebony Obsidian?
Ebony Obsidian is in one of your favorite films.
That means I don't like it. Red Notice?
No, favorite black films.
The Blackening?
No, if Beale Street Could Talk.
Oh, that movie's so sad. Oh, my God. I did not like that film because it wasn't good. It was just like, I came out of the theater like, my day is ruined. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
But it's going to have a lot of like actors who have been acting for a very long time.
Okay.
But unfortunately, it's going to be under the helm of Tyler Perry, and it's going to go straight to Netflix. So,
but at least it's not like your Mia Coppola Tyler Perry. It sounds like it's more like
anything directed by Tyler Perry is Mia Coppola's Tyler Perry.
No, he's got the movie with Misery and Kathy Bates and Angela Bassett. That wasn't
A Family That Prays.
Yeah, that was
movie
different.
Was not good.
I mean,
it was different. People praise it because Tyler Perry did something different. But
okay.
That movie wasn't good.
I don't remember it. So I can't. I've seen it, but I can't really tell you much about it because, well, I will see.
Thoughts and prayers. What was our next piece of news? Sorry.
We're back in. We're back in the trailer park.
Okay. Trailer park. Okay, so we have one trailer in the trailer park today, and that is for Bad Boys 4. This is a movie that is coming out on June 7th, 2024. They were cutting it close with this trailer because that's in like 3 months.
We, maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago, we were talking about where the trailer was, because we're like, if it was still on the slate for June, everybody was like, are we sure it's gonna make it, because ain't no trailer, and they heard us, so they cut together a trailer real quick.
Yeah,
it's actually, to me, the trailer basically is your typical Bad Boys trailer. They give us a summary of the plot, and the plot is basically that the chief is now being framed for
who's dead.
Is he really dead though?
We saw him die. Like, they had his funeral and everything.
Oh, see, this tell you how much I didn't like that last movie, because I forgot.
Will Smith's son snipes him.
Oh, okay. So not a spoiler alert, but I didn't like the last Bad Boy, so the fact that I forgot that man died is probably a sign. But this one looks better than the last one, I will say, in my personal opinion.
It looks the same to me.
Okay, but you liked 3, right?
I liked the last one, yeah.
I didn't. Something about it. It was the kids that they added. It was the son that I don't care about.
So you're not going to like this one? Because it's the same cast.
Well. It looks like, though, they changing up the plot a little bit. Because now it's kind of like, they and none of the Bad Boys have they ever been on like the wrong side of the law.
The plot of the third one was stupid. Him having like a illegitimate, fully Hispanic child, because there's nothing black about Jacob Scipio.
He ain't even exotical black. No. He's just straight up Hispanic or whatever.
Right.
I wasn't feeling it. I was like, if you don't kill this boy,
like,
let's move on.
Will Smith having a child with a Hispanic woman, a black person having a child with a Hispanic person, does not equal a fully Hispanic.
He need to at least look like Miles Morales.
Yeah, I was gonna say he needed some Miles Morales zhuzh up in there, but he didn't have that.
It just wasn't believable, and I didn't care about his son. I was just kind of like, next. That's why I didn't particularly care for 3. But 4, I think because they're changing up the plot, the jokes look like they were funny. They weren't as funny in the last one. The action looks good. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter what the trailer looked like. We gonna watch it anyway. So, I mean, they got me. Don't even matter.
So this movie's going to star Will Smith, of course, and Martin Lawrence returning as Mike and Marcus. It's also going to be the return of Vanessa Hudgens, Alexander Ludwig, Paula Nunez, who will be returning. I think it's only going to be those three.
Yeah.
The last movie had like 4 or 5. I think it was like 4 of the younger recruits. Mm-hmm. And then it was Paula Nunez who were like over them. But it seems like they only brought back like 2.
I ain't mad at it.
Eric Dane, who is McSteamy from Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, he's the villain.
Playing the villain.
You know what? I recognized his face, but didn't know where I recognized him from.
Jacob Scipio will be returning to play Mike Lowry's illegitimate child that nobody believes.
Somebody do, I guess.
New additions will be Iwan Griffith, who, if you recognize that name, that is the first Mr. Fantastic from the Jessica Alba saga.
Oh, okay.
It is also going to star Tasha Smith, who will be replacing the previous actress, Teresa Randall.
She was in 3 briefly, right. But she was in 3.
Right. Tasha Smith was in 3?
Yep. Mm-hmm. You like that movie so much, you forgot she was in there.
Let me look at her IMDb.
She wasn't. I literally think she was in there less than 5 minutes, maybe, and I'm pushing it with the 5 minutes.
She's not credited. So
really,
if she is in it, I thought it was still the last actress. I thought it was Teresa Randall, the original actress.
I'm blanking 3 from my memory. It don't exist. Go ahead.
But it also will have some cameos from actors. Well, not actor, but DJ Khaled, Joyner Lucas, and Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah, they slid that in there and slid it right on out. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's probably like 30 seconds for all 3 of them combined. Yeah. As far as cameos is concerned, it's gonna be, I'm predicting a early prediction of a summer smash blockbuster hit.
Yeah, the last one was a hit. You did not like it, but
somebody did.
Everybody else seemed to like it. It had a budget of $9 million. It came out in 2020 and a box office of $426.5 million.
You mean $90 million budget?
What did I say?
90.
Oh,
I was gonna say, ain't no way.
The ratio, it might as well. $90 million.
I mean, it's still good.
Of $500,000.
Very good.
I mean, yeah, $500 million. Come on.
Yeah, that's interesting. They've kept these under 100 for budget. That's good. I'm not knocking it.
When you think about
it's mostly the action. It's a lot of action and moving, though.
The top billing actors are just Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. There's not much special effects.
Yeah, I guess so. You're right.
These films have the Michael Bay thing where it's just explosions. I think explosives are in Hollywood relatively cheap.
Yeah, I saw something on social media where they were like, "Are you think people are not going to go see this because of the Oscar slap?" I said, "Ain't nobody think about that." Nobody's thinking about it.
It is going to be directed by duo Adil and Bilal Fallah, the Fallah brothers, who will be returning after they directed Bad Boys for Life.
And they've also directed two things: Miss Marvel and the canceled Batman movie. I'm sorry, canceled Batgirl movie.
And they were set to direct the Beverly Hills Cop reboot.
Oh, that was coming to Netflix.
Eddie Murphy, but they dropped out of that. So
interesting. We haven't heard much about that either. They released that little clip.
Other than that trailer.
Yeah. Right. Curious.
But this looks like that Beverly Hills Cop movie looks like it's trending in the Bad Boys direction.
Is Bad Boys 4 trailer was giving me a little John Wick, which is fine. I feel like Keanu Reeves has a thing about being in movies that like start a trend, like Matrix. Now John Wick. It's the Fast and Furious. It's the Fast and Furiousification of Bad Boys, because Bad Boys and Fast and Furious started. They've existed across like decades of technology, right?
To where Fast and Furious, the first Fast and Furious and the first Bad Boys look the same if you watch them.
Oh, yeah, visually,
absolutely. And that film grain,
yes,
and the super saturation, because everything in Miami has to be like super saturated red,
right?
And
there wasn't
like high tech stuff back then, and they didn't fake it.
Right.
So
they weren't trying to like add in fake technology.
And it's funny because now when you watch them, they're completely unrecognizable from how they started, because it's all like it's not
super modernized.
Not special effects, but the action is like ramped up to like a new 10.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah.
So it'll be a smash hit. We'll be going to go see it when it comes out. And that's the only trailer we got that we thought we were going to talk about, because there was another trailer that came out.
That's the only trailer you guys want to hear about.
Yeah, the other one we were just like, no, we're not going to bash that movie on our show. So going into our next segments. Buncha Crunch, which we're calling quick bits now.
Yeah, we're calling our quick bits Buncha Crunch.
So we got the trailer park, we got the Buncha Crunch. Now you're probably wondering, why the heck would you call a segment Buncha Crunch? Our go-to snack when we go to the movies is popcorn with Buncha Crunch, and you have to eat them together. It's kind of like a salty sweets combination for your taste buds. So
I was thinking, I thought Buncha Crunch because it's like bite-sized morsels of movie
okay, and I took it in totally different.
But still the same.
Took it in a totally different direction. So for Jay, Buncha Crunch record is actually makes sense because they're small and bite-sized bits of candy. And I was like, oh, that's cute, because that's how it was when we go to the movies. We have popcorn and Buncha Crunch. Mm-hmm. We're gonna say both. We're gonna say this is in honor of both of those.
So first piece of news is Michael Jackson's biopic adds 2 new cast members. Kat Graham will be playing Diana Ross, and Lorenz Tate will be playing Barry Gordon. And 3. Kendrick Sampson will be playing Quincy Jones. So we've got Diana Ross, Barry Gordon, and Quincy Jones will be appearing in this Michael Jackson biopic, which makes sense.
There's going to be a lot of, and I realize I put Barry as in like strawberry and not Barry as in person Barry in our notes, which I think is hilarious. There's going to be a lot of people in this movie. And people as in like, you know, characters, quote unquote, because they're actually playing real people. But I wonder how many spans of time we going through here.
I think they're just going to be like cameos to show quick, like these are other celebrities that were out at the time Michael Jackson was out.
You don't think it's going to be like scenes and scenes?
I mean, it'll be like a scene, I'm sure.
I'm assuming that Quincy Jones will be in it quite a bit.
Yeah. Diana Ross will make an appearance, but...
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
I think they just need to cast people to create the setting of
the era.
Yeah, because Michael Jackson was around all these famous people, so you can't have nobody famous around him the whole movie.
Right, just fans. We just casted a bunch of fans in this movie. That makes sense. We'll see.
Kat Graham is from TV, mostly. She was in The Vampire Diaries for, I think, the entire show's run.
Okay.
But she also played Jada Pinkett Smith in the Tupac.
Oh,
bio.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All eyes on me.
Okay.
Lorenz Tate doesn't need a breakdown. He's Lorenz Tate. Kendrick Sampson, I don't think needs a breakdown either.
I think he's most known for Insecure. I actually also follow him on IG, which I didn't realize I did. I was like, well, he keep popping up. Oh, I follow him. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a TV actor.
Yes.
He's been in a bunch of shows for a short period of time, but I didn't see anything that had like a full series run for him.
Yeah, I think he was only in a few seasons of Insecure as well, but I think he's a good fit for the look of Quincy Jones.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next piece of news. Love Lies Bleeding star Katy O'Brien, who was also in Ant-Man 3.
And Mandalorian.
2
seasons of Mandalorian, actually.
All roles that we've seen and liked. She is joining the 8th Mission Impossible film alongside Tom Cruise. I think that's a perfect choice.
I think it's funny that it's called the 8th Mission Impossible and not Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2.
That is Tom Cruise's fault.
I was like, y'all mean Dead Reckoning Part 2? Why are we calling it the 8th Mission Impossible?
Katy O'Brien is an actress who she hasn't been in a lot of stuff. She's a fairly newer. She's like an ingenue, but she's a different type of ingenue because she mostly does like action roles, and I think she does like bodybuilding on the side.
Yes, I think I googled it real quick. I think she's formerly a martial artist. I mean, how do you say that? A formal martial artist? What do you call somebody?
Yeah, martial artist.
Okay. Yeah. I'm like, what do you call somebody who used to do martial arts but doesn't now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's good news. We were going to go see Mission Impossible anyway. Mission Impossible also does a good job with casting. I can't think of a Mission Impossible as like, I don't like this character. This character did not do a good job.
I would agree with you.
They usually do a good job with all their casts. And which is strange because Mission Impossibles, especially these last few, have like big cast. Like you have the main team and then you have like all these other side characters who keep popping up. So they do a really good job with that. Next piece of crunch. Ready or Not 2 is officially in the works. This is a sequel to Ready or Not, which is a supernatural.
I wouldn't call it horror.
I wouldn't call it a slasher. It's like a slasher comedy.
I mean, it's a slasher of the.
There's not much knife usage It's mostly guns.
I was gonna say they're killing each other. So what do you call that?
It's like and the supernatural thing was like a twist at the very end. So I wouldn't even call it a supernatural movie. It's a slasher comedy. And
okay, fair enough.
So the plot of the first Ready or Not was a girl, Samara Weaving, woman, marries into a family, and they have a tradition. Every time you marry into the family, every new bride has to select a board game for the family to play.
Damsel without the dragon.
Right. The induction ceremony into the house. You pick a board game from the family stash and you play it. All the board games are regular board games except for the one game, which is hide and seek, which is the one game that isn't just an innocent game. That game basically is the Hunger Games, where she has to hide and everybody in the family has to seek her and kill her before sunrise.
Right.
Or a curse that they made with the devil will come back to get them.
The whole family.
And eradicate the bloodline. And plot, spoiler alert, at the end of that movie, they are unsuccessful. She survives.
Hence why we have a sequel.
The devil actually does show up. And everybody in the family dies, and except for her, because she did not go through with the marriage.
Yeah, including the person that she was supposed to marry.
She took the ring off and said she wanted a divorce. So she divorced right before they all died.
Yeah.
She renounced the marriage.
I hadn't seen it when it first came out. I think we watched either a recap. Did we watch, we watched a movie or a recap of the movie?
We watched a kill count.
Okay, we watched Kill Count on YouTube. It looked good. Like it looks like an entertaining watch. It's not horror. It's like a slasher.
It's like Knives Out. If
with
Knives
more
Out
gore.
had gore.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is, for sure.
Yeah, like if they were running around killing, like it was, if Knives Out, if you remove the mystery and just everybody, the same characters, just imagine all the Knives Out characters on an island running around.
Trying to get each other.
Trying to kill each other. Or trying to kill Daniel Craig specifically.
Ah, yes. There it is. So if you haven't checked it out, I would suggest watching it because it is a good little watch for sure.
Next quick bit. Wow, I'm already messing up.
We got to get used to the crunch.
The next piece of Buncha Crunch. Cory Hawkins, who is best known from, I think, 24.
I didn't know he was in 24.
After he was in like the sequel series, the spinoff after Kiefer Sutherland.
Was they called 25?
I think it was like still 24.
Oh,
but they just like replaced him with Cory Hawkins.
It was called 24 Legacy.
Yeah, that's where I first discovered him from, and I think that's where he was on the longest. And he has popped up in like TV stuff, but I think that's where he got his name from. Was from 24.
Okay.
But he was also in The Color Purple.
He was in, most recently The Color Purple. He was in The Walking Dead, apparently, for season 6 and 7. I most know him from Straight Outta Compton. He played Dr. Dre.
Oh, I didn't see Straight Outta Compton.
Okay. I'm trying to think else he was in. He was in Nonstop. Don't remember him in Nonstop.
Oh, he was in Kong Skull Island.
Oh, yes. He was in Kong Skull Island. That is the other thing I remember him most from.
Yeah, so he is going to be joining the cast of DCU's. This is the new DC universe of films under James Gunn. He's going to be in the DCU show Waller, which I believe is going to be based around the trial of Amanda Waller, which is Viola Davis's character in the Suicide Squad films. So
Annalise Keating going on trial?
Yeah, because, I mean, basically she has to like answer, and Waller's a bad guy,
right?
One.
She's not nice.
But I think she kind of has to answer for her crimes, or not her crimes, because everything she did was actually authorized by the government. But she has to answer for the consequences of sending the Suicide Squad in to do these things that usually result in
mass casualties
when probably would have been avoided if you just called the Justice League instead of sending in the ragtag family of killers to save the day. Okay. So she has to stand trial and defend herself against that.
That's an interesting premise for a show. I'll probably watch Waller because it's Viola Davis, but for no other reason other than that, honestly.
I will absolutely watch Waller because of Viola Davis. She's the best part about those. She's the only good part about those films. Like Suicide Squad 1, she wasn't, her character was not good in. I did not like her character in, but I love watching Viola Davis be in anything. The second Suicide Squad with Idris Elba was better. Yes. Not great, but better.
I was able to sit through it, so cool.
And I liked her more in that.
Yes, I would agree. I like seeing her play evil because she was very good in Hunger Games.
And she says she likes doing those types of roles.
I can tell.
Where she can do something different and doesn't have to play like a regular, realistic person based in the real world.
She does good with that.
Don't know what Cory Hawkins is going to be doing in this movie or what role he's going to be playing. If he's going to be a superhero or just a regular person. For a second, I thought he was going to be related to her, but I think Danielle Brooks is
her daughter.
Is her daughter.
Right.
But I don't know if Danielle Brooks will be showing up in Waller or not. But
I would think so. They are the same universe.
Well, the stinger, I think the stinger at the end of season 1 of Peacemaker was that Danielle Brooks, her daughter, leaked to the public all of the details of what Amanda Waller had been doing. And that's what would lead into the Waller show. But remember, Peacemaker is now no longer canon. Season 1.
There's no way we got Danielle Brooks and Viola Davis characters connected in a universe and you don't put them in a scene together. That is anti-black. That's not right. I can't. I'm going to cause the next revolution.
Our last piece of crunch is a sad crunch.
Aww.
Louis Gossett Jr., the first black man to win Best Supporting Actor Oscar, has died at the age of 87. He won his Oscar for An Officer and a Gentleman.
Ooh, the movie.
Yeah. And he's most recently going to be seen in Ryan Reynolds' If film that is still set to come out, but he was also just in The Color Purple.
He was Mr.'s dad. He was actually, he was funny in that in terms of he was just ridiculous. Not like funny, but just like, oh God, you're such a jerk. But
yeah.
Even though it wasn't a very long, like...
A very old, dead style of misogyny that you haven't seen in quite some time. It was just like...
Ugh. But those characters played that well.
The type of misogyny you haven't seen in so long.
Oh my God, I
wanted it takes your breath away.
I wanted Coven Domingos Mr. to just fall off a cliff. Him and his daddy, who was played by this amazing actor.
He's also you also have him listed down here as Hooded Justice in The Watchmen, and is that the HBO show?
I believe so. Okay. Yes,
I've seen Watchmen like 1,000 times. That awful film. I've seen it so many times, and I think
it was a TV show.
Okay.
On HBO, but his filmography is a long. I was looking it up on Wikipedia. He has been across theater, movies, and TV shows. He's been nominated for Emmys. He's won an Emmy. Oh, he won an Emmy for Roots.
Yeah.
I remember if you don't remember Roots, then that's not good. But
yeah, you need to brush up on your roots.
Right. But yeah, he's been in a lot of TV, he's been in a lot of film. There was a lot of people on Twitter, like different actors and whatnot, giving him accolades and saying how they remembered him and some old pictures from like the old things he's done, and they had taken pictures and stuff on set. So great loss to the acting community.
Yeah.
He was in 7 episodes of The Watchmen. So he was in it. He was in it quite a bit. I don't know how
I did not watch The Watchmen. My plan was to wait for the season to end and then pick up on it because I didn't start it when everybody else started it, and then there was too much conversation around it. So I was like, I'm just wait till this dies down. It's less noisy, and then I'm gonna watch it. And then they canceled it. So
he has,
and I think they canceled it open ended. So
yeah,
I don't want.
People
to
were
watch
very upset Watchmen didn't get renewed.
Yeah,
he actually has 4 upcoming movies coming out. If he did, he's going to be the bear. So he did voice work for that. He's also going to be in a movie called Soul to Keep, Sin, and Unplugged.
It's sad because every time an actor dies, I feel like they always have like a lot of posthumous work that they already finished lined up. So it makes the passing seem very slow. Yeah. He's got all of them are in post-production too. Yeah. So R.I.P. to a legend.
But that is the end of our Buncha Crunch. Haha, I got it right. And now we will get into our review this week for Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. This week we watched Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. It was released March 29th, 2024. It is directed by Adam Wingard, who also directed Godzilla vs. Kong, which is the movie that came out previous to this, and The Blair Witch Project, which... interesting combination of body of work. I didn't know it was the same guy. Cast includes Rebecca Hall as Dr. Andrews, Brian Tyree Henry, who plays Bernie Hayes, Dan Stevens, who was in our trivia as Trapper, Kaylee Hottie as Gia.
Hoddle.
I
think that's an L.
Oh, okay. That is that would be cuter if her last name was Heidi, though. As Gia, Alex Ferns as Mikhail, and then everybody else in this movie, I'm not sure if it's really worth mentioning. So, with all these Monsterverse movies, typically the humans are not the most important part of this, and the monsters don't talk, so there's no voice work here.
Correct.
The runtime is 1 hour and 55 minutes, so just barely under the 2-hour mark. Budget of $135 million, which is not surprising given the CGI in this movie. However, let's talk about the box office here real quick. So the original estimate for whenever a movie comes out, they always do box office projections first because they can kind of do that based on sales and tracking and math and all that jazz. The initial projections for this movie was going to be for the whole weekend, 37 million. So it's always a range. So like around 37 million is what they thought was going to be the opening weekend for this movie domestically. Currently on Friday alone, it has made $37 million. So $37 million so far. That also includes 10 million for Friday. I'm sorry, 10 million for Thursday. At 37 million just for Friday opening, that is the second highest Monsterverse movie opening behind the 2014 Godzilla, which stars Quicksilver and Wanda. And it's also a higher opening Friday above Dune Part 2, which in my opinion is the bigger what?
Yeah.
Because Dune is like, Dune Part 2 is like the masterpiece, the future Oscar winning, award sweeping, it's cinema, quote unquote, as people call it. And this is a Monsterverse movie.
Yeah. Dune is cerebral though. So
Dune has it's not niche. I wouldn't call Dune's box office numbers niche because it's also doing very well at the box office. But the fact that you got this Monsterverse movie that's really brainless, mindless fun, beating it is kind of interesting to say the least, especially when people thought that the industry experts thought that this movie wasn't going to make nearly as much money as it has. So like I said, initial projections were for 37 million for the whole weekend. It's currently projected to do 82 to 87 million domestically for the opening weekend, which is over double. So I don't know why people got it so wrong, but it's very interesting to say the least. It is the 5th highest Good Friday opening, so which I think is funny because Good Friday ain't got nothing to do with movies. But for movies that open up on Good Friday weekends, this is the 5th highest. I already said what it's on track for opening domestically. And yeah, it's basically about to be a blockbuster.
Yeah, it's gonna make a lot of money.
Monsterverse
is not dying or slowing down.
No. This secured about 3 sequels just based off Friday numbers. The ratings are also quite interesting. It has a cinema score of A-, which walking out of the theater, I don't know if I would have told the cinema score rep that, but it's got an A-. Rotten Tomatoes critic score is a 55, which means that out of all the critics that have reviewed it, most of them liked it more than they not liked it at 55%. 55% is not, I guess, just to reiterate, Rotten Tomatoes is not a cool grading scale. So we would think 55 is like an F if we were in school. But 55 in Rotten Tomatoes is basically half of the people, of all the people who saw it, a little over half of them liked it, is how you would think of percentages in Rotten Tomatoes. And the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is 92%, which means mostly everybody who saw it in the audience liked it pretty much at 92%. So let's summarize the plot without spoiling. Godzilla and King Kong are not friends. Still. They have them in 2 separate places. King Kong is in the, not afterlife. What is it called?
Hollow Earth.
Thank you.
Hollow Earth.
So King Kong chilling in Hollow Earth trying to find more people like him. And everybody's kind of like, no, dog, it's just you. And Godzilla is above Earth, above surface, on the surface world, doing protecting of things that come up.
Yeah,
what would you call what he was doing up there?
Godzilla is killing monsters. He's a monster slayer.
There we go.
Every monster that is not Godzilla that is on the surface, Godzilla will attack.
So yeah, if another monster that's not King Kong trying to turn up Actually, if he is getting gone.
Yeah.
Godzilla coming and taking care of
I
business.
think just any monster existing. Because it seems like more so Godzilla's on the hunt for monsters more than the monsters are. Like, there's one scene where a monster is actively disturbing the peace.
Yes.
But then the other one is like Godzilla is looking for
minding his
fights.
business. So they're separate, doing their own separate thing. And then something nefarious is happening in the Hollow Earth. And the humans and Godzilla and King Kong got to go figure out what's going on before it destroys the Earth. Which is pretty much the plot of every Monsterverse movie.
Yeah.
So, going on without spoiling, who did we like and didn't like, including monsters?
I liked Kong.
Yes.
I liked Baby Kong.
Okay.
Or Son of Kong.
Kong Mini Kong.
Yeah, Mini Kong.
Let's call him Mini Kong.
I was cool with Scar, who's the villain.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Who's the new monster villain in this movie. I was cool with Scar.
Yeah.
I thought it's funny to say for an ape he had personality.
He did.
Because all apes do have personality.
He very much so.
But he was like borderline human.
Yeah. One would not debate you about why that would be.
Yeah. He was like borderline human a little, which I enjoyed.
Huh?
That is all the characters that I like.
You ain't name a single
So
human.
Kong, Son of Kong. I mean, because that's who we go to see.
You're
we go
right.
to see the monsters.
I like Godzilla in this. Not more than even. This was definitely a Kong movie, though.
I always like Godzilla.
Yes.
On the Kong versus Godzilla thing, I'm Team Godzilla.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm King Kong. Feel like I'm Team Kong.
Okay.
Only because Kong has more personality. And when he get like jacked up, you be like, dang, Kong, get it together. Because you can see it in his facial expressions. Mm-hmm. But I like Godzilla in this because he was just like, I'm here to do my job. Leave me alone. Move out of my way and you won't get hurt. Although you could kind of get hurt because he's huge. Human-wise, I like Trapper.
Oh, Trapper. Trapper was fine. Yeah.
Trapper in this movie is the vet/dentist of the monsters. He's like Kong's personal dentist. If you can think of such a thing, he was cool.
Yeah, I will say that there wasn't a human that I did not like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there wasn't any human characters that I was like, oh, I wish they weren't in this movie.
Yeah. But
Trapper was the only one who, like, made an impression.
I agree.
Yeah.
Brian Tyree Henry's character, he was okay. He had a line or two, but it was just a little too...
He was okay, but he didn't do anything.
Not really.
Other than be, like...
the funny blogger podcaster
He's
guy.
like that character that they cast somebody to be the audience of a movie, which is always dumb because we are the audience. We don't need to have a character speaking for us. That's all they gave him to do was being an audience member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why I like him in this movie is because it's doing so well financially. Like,
sure, yeah.
Go
that's
ahead,
fine.
Brian. Go
Absolutely.
ahead. What else? So anything about this movie we should talk about before we get into spoilers? I will say CGI was good. Well, hold on. Pause. For some odd reason, our screen looks like it was 3D on the sides.
Well, it's not our screen.
Is that the movie?
Yeah. So this is the first movie that's filmed in this specific type of IMAX format.
Oh, that would explain it. So we went to see
first Monsterverse film.
We went to go see it in Dolby, and we typically either go see things in XD, at Cinemark, or just a regular. And we'll do Dolby for very loud, obnoxious, feast for the eyes type movies, which is what this movie is. But for some reason, it looked like there was not a glare, some fuzziness going on around the sides of the screen. And I was like, what is happening here?
So basically, this movie was shot entirely in IMAX 1.9:1 aspect ratio. It's the first Monsterverse film to be shot in that way for IMAX, but it was also shot for IMAX 3D. They said the only reason to see this film would be to see it in IMAX 3D.
It definitely had that weird offness on the sides.
And it wasn't the whole movie. It was pretty much only the parts of the movie that had monsters in it was shot that was that way. And it had like this fisheye thing.
Yes, it is. Fisheye. That's what I was looking for.
The middle of the screen juts out towards you and everything around it looks like blurry and hazy and yeah. We
both went over like, what is going on with this screen? Like, it didn't take away from the plot or anything of the movie. It was just a little distracting.
Yeah, it's
at some point.
Watching the movie, if you've ever seen a 3D movie and you take the 3D glasses off,
It looks weird.
That's what but the center of it, that's what it looks like. But if you take the 3D glasses off and the center of it is still clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little strange.
And I usually don't complain about that, but it
was weird.
It was distracting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they do a lot of close-ups, like on Kong's face and Godzilla's face. And it's one of those where like, oh, I'm supposed to have on 3D glasses.
Well, even in some of the shots where we got real close to the humans, where they were in like the hollow earth forest, you could really tell on the trees on the side where it seemed like...
Because they're like curving and bending towards the center of the screen. Like trees don't bend like that.
As if if you had the glasses on, the humans were going to be popping out and the trees were going to be in the background. Is how it felt like.
It's kind of like when you look at a black hole and you see the stars around it
bending,
stretching and bending. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So if you have not seen this movie yet, and something that I guess we can tell people, if you have not seen this movie yet and you want to see it, if you either don't really care about it like that, but you're just going to see it, you can see it in standard format.
Yep.
If you actually want to see it for the full experience, do it in IMAX 3D or at some type of 3D.
I did not. The sound was good in Dolby. I did not enjoy our Dolby theater experience.
No.
Easton, what is going on? Like, the seats were ridiculous. I think my seat was actually broken because I couldn't recline all the way. We kept having to move our feet because people was ordering snacks.
And the
thing wasn't wide enough for us to be able to keep our feet out and the people to walk by.
So we typically go to the Cinemark because they have better concessions.
Yes.
The seats in the theaters are better and more comfortable, and the walkways are a lot wider.
Yes, the aisles are wider.
So you can be completely outstretched and not have to like really move when people are like walking through or when servers are coming through. At AMC, everything in an AMC theater is tight. The seats are tight. Next to you. And at Cinemark, there's sometimes they do like section off two seats together and put gaps. But Cinemark, they pack everybody in there like a can of sardines.
It's crazy.
The seats are whack.
We didn't have no tray. Once again,
there's no tray.
Like my complaint when we went to see Oppenheimer in IMAX, no tray for my snacks.
You only have a cup holder on like one side.
Yeah. And don't have somebody next to you because you really got your cup holder.
Yeah. So
I don't know. We might have to.
AMC IMAXs are terrible. Well, the AMC IMAX here.
And the Dolby.
Terrible.
I felt like the Dolby was all right at one point.
The Dolby used to be great.
Because what we going to see Twisted in? Prime.
I want to see it in Prime, but if it comes to Prime. But anyway.
That's a sidetrack.
Back to our movie review and not complaining about the movie experience.
There was too much jumping. So there's essentially 3 plot lines going on during this movie. We're following Kong in Hollow Earth, trying to find he's fighting and surviving and trying to find other apes like him, and everybody's convinced that they don't exist. There's Godzilla, who's killing monsters, trying to power up, and we're not sure why he's trying to power up. So we got Godzilla doing his thing, and then we're following the humans around, trying to figure out what both are doing. Then also there's a bit of a human, you got your little human interactions and storyline in there. So, but they jump from each one with no type of like transition, or it's just like cut. And I'm like, where are we at? Who are we doing? And we're only with them for like a few minutes at a time. So it was just a little too much jumping for me.
Yeah. I have to find something that does the screen time breakdown for every character, like Godzilla, Kong. So what I did find is that Godzilla only has 8 minutes of screen time in this film.
I could tell.
It has the runtime is 115 minutes.
Right.
We definitely, Godzilla is a side character.
Yes.
And when I mean side character, I mean it's Kong. And all the apes, it's the humans, and then Godzilla is like a feature on a track that just comes in for the bridge.
Yes, I would agree with
Godzilla
you.
is barely in this movie,
and it kind of sucks because his style and how they modeled him, he looked good.
Yeah, we only pop in to see Godzilla kill like 2 monsters in very, very quick fights.
Less than a minute.
Like he takes them down in 15 seconds or less. And then we continually jump back to the humans. And I found it funny because the director, Adam Wingard, who also made a lot of other bad movies.
I didn't put them in the list.
He made the 2016 reboot of Blair Witch, which was bad. He made the live action Death Note movie, which was really bad. He made Godzilla vs. Kong, which was received very well.
Yeah,
and which was good. Godzilla vs. Kong was good.
Yeah.
He also did You're Next, which is one of my favorite slasher movies, so that was okay. And he also did the Guest, which was also a bad movie. But he did an interview where he basically said like, oh yeah, the human characters in this time are definitely just like side characters. He said they're gonna feel like side characters, and I felt like no, they just felt like the same.
They didn't feel like side characters.
They felt like main characters. The humans were they weren't the main character. I'll say that.
Right.
But they definitely weren't just side characters. They were like supporting characters.
Yeah. Now it definitely wasn't like Legacy of Monsters, where we had a perfect balance of human and monster. But that series gonna be hard to top, in my opinion.
The thing with the Legacy of Monsters is those characters are better.
Oh yeah,
than every human character in any of the Monsterverse films. Those human characters were interesting and did interesting things and messy.
You're right.
We spent a lot of time with these humans. We should have spent more time with Godzilla.
Yeah, I would have swapped human time for Godzilla time in this movie. Yeah, 100%.
Because I didn't, other than Trapper's little fun moments that he had, like there's a scene in the movie where they give Godzilla an extraction because he needs, he
got a bad tooth.
He needs a dentist. They need a dentist, and they need people who can perform medical procedures on these giant monsters that don't eat people.
Right.
So I thought that was fun. But outside of that, the story with the doctor, Eileen, returning and her daughter, Gia, I did not care about them at all. I didn't care about them in the first movie that they showed up in.
Nah.
Like, I didn't care about them at all.
Nah.
Brian Tyree Henry's character was fine and funny, but he didn't do anything.
He was there.
He was just there.
And then there was the one pilot guy.
Brian Tyree Henry's was just played a podcaster.
Yeah.
And it would have just been like if they invited us to go to Hollow Earth. It's like, we don't have any skills. We don't have any skills. We don't have anybody to contribute to.
I don't like camping. So.
Just like Brian Tyree Henry said, we don't have that many subscribers yet. So taking us down there for what? What was the purpose of bringing him with you? But, whatever.
You're right. I didn't hear anything about that.
I didn't mind him. I was confused of why he was there.
We spent too much time with them when we could have spent more time with the actual monster called Godzilla, for sure.
Godzilla is on 10 this whole movie. He starts out like
he ready to turn up.
Yeah, there's no,
or he know the turn up coming, so he's trying to pre-turn up.
We're past the soft open for Godzilla. We're past the build up. Godzilla comes in and he's just wrecking shop. I like that because we know Godzilla.
Yeah.
Let's cut to the chase.
I did like that in the movie where we started on 10.
Yeah.
There was no like, here's some backstory and here's the nope.
I don't need
everybody
to
already
see,
where they need to be.
What's great about Dragon Ball Z is that Goku gets Super Saiyan, and then whenever he wants, he can just snap back and forth. We don't have to watch a full season of him rebuilding his power back up to be at, and we're in the 1000th monster movie with Godzilla. Godzilla is just like, when I need to be on 10,
I'm there.
I'm immediately
I'm on
there.
12.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
I sleep on 10, and when I wake up, I'm on 12. So I love the fact that they just cut to the chase with Godzilla.
Agree.
They try to do like the Owen and Claire thing
with the Doctor and Trapper,
with Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard from Jurassic Park. With the Trapper and Doctor, doesn't pan out.
I feel like they were going to go that route and maybe just cut it off from the movie.
Yeah, because like, y'all don't have chemistry. Also, this is super obvious.
Right.
Like, this is super tropey. Like the intelligent woman and the idiot dude with street smarts and survivor skills get together, and it's like, no.
I bet you they filmed that and we're like, no, we gonna take this out.
Everybody doesn't have to be Rick and Evie.
Right.
Like, you could just do like two scientists, it was just, I was just like,
I mean, he's a freaking vet, so he ain't dumb.
Yeah, he's not an idiot. Right. He's a doctor. So,
but they tried to play like, oh, he's just a goofy little outdoor guy. Like, no, he a monster vet.
That was also strange because like, he's a doctor.
Yeah.
Who has to be talented enough in his career that y'all hired him to do an extraction on a giant primate. Instead of calling anybody else, y'all called him. So he's got to be like the best dentist on the planet. So why is he an idiot?
You in the universe.
Why is he like, why is he peace and love?
I don't know.
The villain, he was very...
He reminded me of some character in another movie, and I don't know if I can't pick it because he's a combination of characters in different movies.
but he was too human.
He gave me, you know that scene, I haven't seen this movie, of Daniel Kaluuya, and it's that meme where he's like looking to the side of somebody. Like you said what to me?
Yeah.
He got this very like cocky hood.
Yeah. It was ethnic.
Streets.
Yeah.
He looked like he was giving me a character from The Wire. Maybe that's what it was. I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like this man been on the block selling drugs, and he looking at Kong like, and who is you?
Yeah.
It was very humanized.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to put
like
it.
the way he like his posture and the way he like talked to the other apes,
Right.
and just the way his mannerisms were very like
Drug dealer.
like
I don't know how to
drug
describe
dealer,
it.
but like classic villain that
Yeah.
you've seen in like a movie before.
I don't.
That's like not strong, but
Right.
they're just like really snaky.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I can place it because it's a combination of different characters from different things.
Yeah, it's weird because he's an ape, so you expect apes to be very human-like because of evolution, but
Right.
he was like
Very ape. I mean, very human.
he was too human.
Yes.
He was too regular.
And they're standing up on their legs.
like if he had just started talking, I'd be like, this is unsurprising because everything else you do seems more human than Kong.
He literally looked like he wanted to be like, I mean, what? You
Right.
gonna step or what? I mean, we gonna box or what?
Yeah.
Like, that's literally how he was acting.
So we can cross into spoiler territory if you are ready.
In 3, 2, 1. The characters go into Hollow Earth. And one, we don't know why they taking the podcast guy because it's not safe. It sounds like you need to be some sort of trained individual to be down there. Gia also goes, the daughter, which none of this.
Well,
seems
he
safe.
kind of, I guess they do that. They take Brian Tyree Henry down there as like consolation because he does have like this big monologue where he's like, well, because he was in the last movie with Millie Bobby Brown. And they do have this big monologue where he's like, I technically helped save the world from Mechagodzilla the last time, and Monarch, being a shadowy organization that it is, basically refuted my claims,
right?
And made me seem like a crazy
for
conspiracy theorist for it. So they were like, fine, because we need you to help us out again, we'll take you down to Hollow Earth.
Right, because he really wants to go.
Right.
He's not forced. He's actually like, I want to go see it. He's a podcast. He's trying to relive his moments and whatnot
he wants to he wants to have something documented to show his listeners and everybody else who've been trolling him, like, I actually did do this is the truth.
Right. What's ridiculous to me is when they get down there is that there's no type of like weaponry for everybody else. They have the one pilot guy who gets down there and gets eaten by some sort of tree bug situation because it's Hollow Earth. Like, it's got super big monsters, super big bugs. He dies, and then everybody else just kind of like, well, we'll just walk around the fences.
They treat Hollow Earth
like a campground,
like Jurassic Park. Like Jurassic Park is Jurassic World, I guess, because the park never came to fruition. But in Jurassic World, Bryce Dallas Howard ran it, and it operated like a big zoo.
Yes.
And even though the staff, like the people who handle the animals, will be walking around because it's on an island. It's not the wild though. Right. It's controlled island with a controlled environment. All of this is
weapons.
All of this is locked
with people with weapons.
Right. Even though everything hit the fan and immediately it did not work, but all of this, theoretically, all of this is locked down.
Should have worked.
Everything at Jurassic Park is on lock and key.
Not in this movie.
But they're walking around Middle Earth.
Yeah. With nothing but t-shirts and the clothes on their back. And I'm just like,
they just take one craft with one guard.
Yeah, one person to protect them.
A scientist, a little girl, a dentist, and a podcaster. And the guard dies immediately.
He's eaten by a tree.
And they're treating it like they're, oh, well, we'll make it back to the mainland. Yeah. We just have to keep walking and keep on the move. It's like, no
map.
No
GPS.
You're not technically on Earth.
Right.
You're in a completely different dimension. So
I didn't like how the characters. It
was very strange.
Yes, I didn't like, and that was just the first scene. The characters do all type of stuff, like touching stuff they ain't supposed to, ripping stuff apart, pushing buttons and following paths. I'm like, y'all don't know nothing about this place.
The guard was literally eaten by a tree and plant.
And he was just like, oh,
eaten by a plant, as if the plant was an animal. And they're just kind of like, the trapper literally goes, peace and love is just like, oh, that's just the way of the world. Like,
Nobody freaks out.
They set up Hollow Earth to where I would find a T-Rex comforting. If I was in Hollow Earth, because I'm like, finally, something familiar. The rest of this weird stuff that
bugs,
you don't know what's gonna eat you.
Trees.
Or I thought it was weird when the guy's getting bit by a mosquito, and he's
a very large mosquito.
I'm getting eaten up by these things, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, these mosquitoes are harmless. You don't have to worry about it." Mosquitoes on Earth carry diseases. And I immediately thought of in Alien Covenant when they landed on that planet that they weren't supposed to be on, but because it had grass, they were like, "Oh, let's go here."
Yes.
And then that guy stepped on like a plant bulb, and the plant bulb released like this alien spawn that went into his ear, and then it turned into an alien that exploded from his back.
I thought that the mosquito bite was going to turn into something.
Anytime. Because of that movie. Yeah. Anytime there's a movie where they go to an uncharted world, I think of that. Because I'm like, you could step on a plant
and trigger
and
something.
It could release a spore that creates a monster that grows on your insides
24 hours later
and bursts out of you and kills everybody else. Right. Like, you don't know what could happen.
Actually thought the mosquito bite was going to come back and turn into something.
Because why would it not?
It didn't, though. It didn't. What about my note literally says humans touching too much.
Yeah.
Because that was like, they didn't treat Hollow Earth as like this sacred unknown place. They just treated it like, going to Target.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Yeah. Mosquitoes carry diseases that to the level that you have to get vaccinated for. You ever heard of malaria? So if a mosquito,
Hollow Earth of malaria.
Yeah. So if a mosquito on Earth can have malaria, how are the mosquitoes in Hollow Earth harmless? Will the trees eat people?
Never seen and encountered before.
I had an issue with that. I thought that was strange.
So that was my issue with the humans, was that they
were never in any real danger.
No, I was going to say, we had to suspend our belief that everything just worked out.
The characters in Jumanji were in more danger than the humans in this movie.
I would agree with you.
Which is crazy.
With that. The other thing that I was kind of like, okay, y'all, was the plot line of Gia finding her people. And the reason why it was so like, okay, y'all, is because the people live in Hollow Earth. And it's just like, okay, so you got a whole race of people that have disappeared off of main Earth, and they live in Hollow Earth, and they speak telepathically. They have to tell us that because they don't show us that. Okay, so we got the storyline of Kong finding apes. We got the storyline of Godzilla. We don't technically know what he's doing, and nobody can really figure it out. And now we got the storyline of the people finding the race of people of this daughter. So there's too much going on.
So it actually goes into another one of my notes.
Too much going on.
Which is that the telepathic civilization is too ridiculous for me in a world full of monsters.
Yes.
So you're mixing two different types of fantasy together.
That's what I'm saying.
There's the monster sci-fi.
Which we already got to suspend our belief for because monsters.
Because it's monsters.
But I'm okay with that.
The thing with that is it's still based in some type of fake science. They still try to fake explain the science.
Yes,
like the monsters aren't just magical.
Right.
Like what was King Ghidorah, the three-headed one from King of Monsters? Scientifically, that was an alien. They explained that it was part of a meteor. It crashed to Earth. That's why it didn't belong here. That's why it was messing up the balance of nature and whatnot. I was like, okay, sure, whatever. Science.
Right.
Godzilla
movie science
is a product of nuclear radiation. All of the monsters are a product of nuclear radiation. That's why they eat radiation.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, there's
and Godzilla's, and Kong's from Hollow Earth. Sure.
And Kong's from Hollow Earth.
Fine.
So, sure, fine. But there's no direct line between that and psychic people.
None.
People who
humans, period.
Psychic humans who have lived in this place where you can be eaten by a tree and they survived. But fine, indigenous people know the lands, so they can.
Sure.
I would not have survived.
No.
I
wouldn't have survived the plane ride down
when North America was undiscovered. I wouldn't have lived. But sure, fine, they can survive. But them having Jean Grey abilities, you can't put mutants in a monster movie. Those are two different types of genre of fiction that you're mixing together. I'm like, this is too ridiculous.
It was too much going. Like, I came to a monster movie, so anything y'all do with these monsters, I'm gonna take it because that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
But now you got psychic humans living in the place where the monsters are.
Because you can't have monsters and superheroes in the same movie. And what these people are superheroes. They're psychic because they don't only communicate to each other. They could still hear the thoughts of Brian Tyree Henry and all of the non-Hollow Earth people.
They knew English.
They can read your mind and hear your thoughts. So these are people with superpowers.
Yes. So many elements was my note on that. And then the interesting thing about the humans, or I don't know, are they humans? Whatever.
Right, exactly.
Something about the people forms
Mutant and Proud
in
down
this
here.
movie was the fact that they needed Gia, the little girl,
who
to fix
probably
everything.
has the most untested set of power, because these are indigenous people who have practiced their telepathy.
Yeah. So the premise of the movie is that something is calling from Hollow Earth to Gia. Gia has to, so Gia goes down there. They find the people and they're like, "Oh, you're the key to unlocking Mantra."
Because was she mystical in Godzilla versus Kong?
She just had
I know she had sign language.
Yeah, her and Kong just had the connection because they could both sign.
Yeah,
I don't know when she became Jean Grey.
Right, because in in Godzilla versus Kong, when we see Gia, they're like, "Oh, she's the last person." They're from the same island. Her and Kong are from the same island.
Yes, correct.
She's the last living person of her tribe.
Correct.
So the only human-esque elements that were left on the island was Kong and Gia. So it made sense that they bonded.
Yes.
Because Kong likes people. And it keeps up with the whole Kong finds one girl that he likes and he sticks with her.
Right.
It's always usually just been a white woman. But now it's Gia. So it's cool, makes more sense. They're from the same island. She's indigenous.
Yes.
And she has sign language. They didn't have a mental connection. There's a couple times where Kong just shows up places because Gia's there, and the doctor goes, "Oh, he could have sensed you." I'm like,
no, she didn't say could. She said he did.
He did, yeah. He must have sensed you. And I'm like, when did they get a psychic connection?
Yes, I was wondering why she said that, because they're in one part of the Hollow Earth, and then Kong gets jacked up by the apes. So then he tries to make it back to where his normal stomping grounds. He finds the humans, like the Trapper and the Doctor and Gia and Podcast. I'm just gonna call him Podcast at this point. And the doctor is like, he must have sensed that Gia was here. How did he sense that she was here?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, why? So there's a prophecy here. So we added another element. If we didn't have enough going on, there's a prophecy with Gia's people that she is the key to awaken Mothra, who is the key to destroying the coming of the apocalypse that's going to be set loose by Thug. What's his name? Scar.
Yeah.
So it's just it's too much. You can follow it because it's all mindless and brainless, but it's also too much jumping around.
You could honestly watch this movie on mute and get the same have the same impact, because the plot doesn't make any sense.
No.
Especially everything that the humans say,
they don't add nothing.
Is not important.
Nah.
And can be cut.
Sure.
Everything that the monsters do is what's interesting.
It's a good time.
And that makes sense. And it's a good time.
And they don't talk, so you don't need to have
adding the
dialogue there.
Adding the secret civilization was dumb.
Nah, I didn't need it.
All the human parts were, I like the whole Gia's Dr. Eileen's adopted daughter, which, okay, that makes sense because you found her or whatever.
Okay, what did that add to the movie?
I thought the acting between Gia and the daughter, Gia and the doctor was okay, because it makes sense. You adopted her. She's indigenous from this island and that has no other people left for her. She had the line with the teacher where the teacher's like, "Oh, we're dealing with a lot of kids who have issues and have been displaced from their culture." And she's like, "Well, it's different because she's not displaced. She's actually just the last surviving.
Right.
There's nowhere she could go to experience her people."
I did like their relationship. And there's a part in the movie towards the end where, she finds her people and the mom doctor is like, I'm going to have to let her go. I promised that I was always protect her, but I didn't realize protecting her might result in letting her go.
Because she seems happy with her people.
Right. And at the end, she's kind of telling her, I understand your decision if you want to stay. And the little girl I ain't staying down here.
The girl was like, I thought we were just visiting. I want to go back up top and be on my iPad.
Right. Because at the beginning of the movie, the mom is like, wherever you go, I go, or whatever you do, I do. We're in this together. And the little girl ma'am, wherever you go, I go.
The little girl was like, I'm sad because I'm the only last person left, but there's no phones down here.
Hello?
So The girl's like, we're absolutely going back to the surface.
They ain't got a Target. They ain't got Disney Plus. Yeah. It's hot.
Yeah, she's in the only game. It looks like the only game the kids play is Run the Flag.
Yes.
So the girl is like,
you go.
This was,
I go. Beautiful gowns. Let's go topside.
Yeah.
But so you're right. I like their relationship, and I like the fact that they didn't make it, because I feel like it would have been pretty predictable if she did stay. So I like the fact that the daughter was like, no, girl, I'm going home with you.
Because we get to the civilization about halfway through the movie. And
sure.
It may be earlier. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of like, oh, if they go this way, this is too predictable. It
would have been very predictable.
But yeah, they get down there, they find this ancient civilization, find out that the ancient civilization have been the ones sending the distress signal to Gia to let her know that
monkey ape.
We need y'all to send y'all good monsters. I don't know how they would know that. I don't know how the people on Hollow Earth would know that people were on the surface, because how would they know who they were sending their distress signal to?
Well, I'm assuming...
because, to be specific, these people aren't just in Hollow Earth. They're in a secret, uncharted part of Hollow Earth that not even Kong has been to.
Because Kong's been venturing further and further out, but he ain't covered all of... That's how he runs into the new monkeys. Because he ain't been there before.
Yeah.
I don't know how they knew she was up there.
But they've been the ones sending the distress signal. Like, hey, the Scar King is about to arise.
We need some help.
So that's what drew the humans down there.
Right.
And that's also kind of what's been driving Godzilla nuts up top. Because Godzilla is just picking fights and attacking nuclear plants and charging up.
He's kind of trying to do his thing and not be bothered.
He killed Tiamat.
Yeah.
For no reason. Tiamat was literally just in their house chilling. And Godzilla came, knocked on the door, and killed her.
I mean, but he needed what she had, and she won't give it up.
Murder. But anyway.
I mean, he definitely took... Okay, sidebar a little bit. Godzilla be tearing up towns.
Yeah, and the ends does not justify the means.
He be walking through just... imagine you walking to the store, but you're killing a billion ants along the way.
And the movie doesn't do itself justice by referencing the destruction, because
just doesn't notice it at all.
The staff at Monarch is having a conversation about the government is trying to come in and take over Monarch and take over Hollow Earth research. And with government comes the private organizations. The private organizations are also trying to figure out how they can monetize or whatever.
Bad things.
The one bodyguard guy makes a comment like, yeah, what could be so bad about killing all the monsters? And as a Godzilla lover, I'm like, oh, you can't kill Godzilla because he's a protector. But as a person watching the movie, I'm like, you can't...
As somebody living in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, you can't make a line in the movie addressing the mass destruction and still show the mass destruction. And the movie's supposed to end where
right over
we're watching Godzilla literally decimate like any town or city, because he only attacks major cities.
Yeah.
He's not like in Haddonfield, Illinois.
Well, I guess whatever the monsters show up, they only show up in like major cities.
Yeah, they're showing up in Rome,
not Plain
in
City,
Rio.
Ohio.
They're going to the tourist destinations.
Yeah,
they're only fighting in tourist destinations.
They go on TripAdvisor.
Yeah,
see what the most popular destinations
San Francisco,
and go there.
San Francisco, New York, Tokyo, Rio de Janeiro, Rome. This isn't like... I mean, they're not fighting in Dayton.
No.
So they're destroying things that everybody in the world cares about.
Yeah.
Like he's sleeping in the Coliseum.
Yes. Godzilla's bed is the Roman Coliseum in this movie, which is odd, but it looks cute.
It's just funny. It's funny when we see the fights because they take the time to show us.
Oh, Cairo, Egypt. We forgot about Cairo.
Yeah. And blowing up pyramids. They take the time to show us Godzilla killing millions of people while he's trying to protect them from the monster. So it's just funny. It's funny how we have movies with like Civil War where, I mean, technically Elisabeth Olsen killed 8 people in a building.
Yeah.
And
on accident.
8 people in a building on accident, as opposed to like the hundreds of people that were like at the street market that would have died in this explosion. And they were ready to whip out the Accords.
No, they did whip out the Accords.
They whipped out the Accords.
They was ready to shut superheroes down.
They instituted a kill order for Captain America because they felt like he was working with Bucky in that world. But in this world,
It don't matter. Civilians be darned.
Right. In this world,
You better stay in your house, and your house better not be in a popular area.
Exactly.
Because Godzilla's going to kill you, and nobody's going to.
And the government isn't going to do a single thing.
So I like Godzilla in this movie because of his style and how he was trying to, mind his business while minding everybody else's business. But he killed several 100,000 people in this movie just walking around.
And it's not a complaint, just an observation.
Right.
I think it's just funny that he literally just kills everybody while trying to save everybody.
It is funny. And the movie just goes, yeah, don't worry about that.
He's Godzilla.
And another note I had was, so Kong, as he's trying to explore more of Hollow Earth, runs into Baby Kong, because Baby Kong tries, I don't want to call him Mini Kong, whatever.
It's called Son of Kong.
Is that what his actual character is?
That's what in canon.
Okay.
Because this is not the first son of Kong.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Son of Kong, Mini Kong, Baby Kong shows up with his posse, and they are trying to...
Yeah, there's a society of apes.
Hijack Kong? I don't know what they were trying to do. They get into a fight. Baby Kong is basically set him up. But Kong is like, okay, I didn't even know y'all was here. So show me where y'all at. Like, where the hideout, where the spot at. So they traverse to the spot where all the other apes are. And Kong is like, oh snap, y'all here kicking it, y'all chilling it. And then he's looking a little closer, and he like, actually,
y'all look a little desiccated.
It's giving real Prince of Egypt.
Patchy, like they were patchy, they were balding.
Their teeth was falling out because Scar is actually, it's funny because Scar in this movie is very much like the Scar in The Lion King.
It's funny because I have another note.
Because the hyenas that be kicking it with Scar look real jacked up, and the apes that's kicking it with the Scar in this movie also look real jacked up.
Also the realm, when we see Hollow Earth, if you've seen all the other films, Hollow Earth looks like a fictitious version of regular Earth, just with like...
It's very vibrant.
It looks like, you know what? Hollow Earth looks like Pandora from Avatar.
Yeah,
it's
correct.
Pandora. It's literally just Pandora.
With two sides.
Sandwiched in the middle of the Earth. Hollow Earth is Pandora. Minus the blue people. But hey, who knows? Scar's realm is giving Everywhere the Light Touches.
Yes.
From The Lion King. When Mufasa has the speech with Simba, and he's like, everywhere the light touches is our realm. And he's like, what about the dark place? He's like, we don't go there. And Scar's realm in Godzilla X Kong looks like
it looks just
where
like
the light don't touch,
with better CGI, because it's a higher budgeted movie. Yeah, so it looks like Volcano Land, aka the Badlands from Lion King movie. They go over there.
Yeah, I was waiting for Scar to come out, like, be prepared.
He could have, like we said, he could have talked. It would have been like, this actually tracks.
Right.
So Kong, we get a closer look at all the apes, and Scar is basically a slave driver, which is interesting because it's Easter weekend right now, and it's giving with a whip. And it's giving real Prince of Egypt, because Kong show up like, oh, you can't treat these people like this. Let my people go.
Yeah, so
literally.
Kong is Moses.
He's freaking Moses. And so a fight ensues with Scar and Kong. And Scar has this mystical crystal that controls a different version. It's not Godzilla, but it looks like Godzilla.
Now, in canon, it's called Shimu.
Okay, so there's another monster in this movie called Shimu, who is being controlled by Scar via this crystal. And Shimu, the other premise of the story is that Scar wants to go back up topside so he can use Shimu to unleash the apocalypse. Essentially, that's the whole. And then the girl, Gia, is the one that needs to release Mothra so Mothra can stop all this from happening. But we also need Kong and Godzilla to help fight. And it don't really matter.
So it's
very much beautiful gowns though when they fight. I'll give it that.
They added Shimu so that it wouldn't be the same as Mechagodzilla. So it wouldn't be a 2v1 fight.
Okay.
So now they added an extra surprise monster to make it 2v2.
You're right, because this monster is not in any other promo.
So we have Godzilla, who's the laser-breathing dragon, versus Shimu, who's the ice-breathing dragon. Yes, and we have the two monkeys. So we have the two dragons and the two monkeys fighting each other.
Correct. And there's actually a scene in the movie where you see the two dragons go against each other. Godzilla and Shimu.
They have like a Civil War at the airport moment where they're like running towards each other, and they jump and they do the slow-mo and then they clash. Yeah.
Right. So I thought that the fight scenes between the monsters in this movie are very good.
Yeah, my favorite one was the floating scene, the floating fight.
Yes.
So there's a scene in the movie where the Hollow Earth indigenous people use like this gravity mechanism that gets rid of the gravity in Hollow Earth for a couple minutes, and the monsters are kind of just jumping around on these floating rocks and fighting each other.
Yep.
And I thought that was my favorite fight because it was different. It was fun watching different. Godzilla in zero gravity.
All of them just flailing.
Yeah, just flailing.
Trying to fight.
Like animals.
Yes.
They look like animals.
Even baby Godzilla jumped in on it because another one of Scar's goons showed up and was also, so it's like six monsters literally trying to fight in zero gravity.
Right.
It's a good feast for the eyes, and it sounded great. This movie sounded great in Dolby. I will say that. Even though we had the weird film thing going on, I think our Dolby experience was worth it because it's loud. And every time Godzilla or Kong opened up their mouth, it was loud. The fight scene with Godzilla. So Godzilla goes up to the surface world to get, Kong goes up to the surface world to get Godzilla to go back to Middle Earth and help. I'm calling all these things the wrong thing.
That's where we get the fight in Egypt.
That's where we get the fight in Egypt, which was good. It's in a trailer, okay. But the longer version in the movie was good because Kong is actually not trying to fight. And Godzilla's like, oh, I thought you knew better than to come up here.
Because Godzilla doesn't talk or know sign language. No. So you can't, the monkeys can all kind of talk to each other.
Yes.
And talk to the people. And everybody can converse.
Right.
Except for Godzilla.
Except the one that can tear it up the most.
Right.
And he's like, oh, I thought you, because in the movie they say it a couple times where as long as Godzilla's up topside and Kong is in Hollow Earth, we good. Right. There should be no type of conflict.
Because they can't communicate enough to call a truce. So
right.
They have to just stay separated.
Exactly. But Godzilla, Godzilla can obviously knows and can sense or whatever when Kong shown up. So when Kong actually goes up to get his dental work done, everybody a little nervous because they like, oh snap, because if Godzilla find out this man up here getting the tooth extraction, we in trouble.
Right.
But he don't. So when when Kong goes back up to go get Godzilla show up like, what is you doing here? Mm-hmm. Why is you here? So they fight for a little bit. It's actually a really good fight scene. Yeah. But eventually he gets Godzilla to go. No, actually he don't.
Yeah.
Mothra shows up.
Yeah, we get another monster.
The only reason why Godzilla stopped beating Kong's behind is because Mothra shows up and go, hold up. Let me tell you what's going on, Godzilla. Chill out.
So the prophecy is that Gia from the surface, the one surviving Iwi tribe member from the surface, the prophecy was that she has to come down to the Hollow Earth to resurrect Mothra.
Yes.
Mothra's job is to protect the gates.
Which she don't succeed at because Scar...
Because you can just rip it open, it seems like.
I mean, it's literally like a swimming pool. You just jump in and boom, you back through.
But I also had another issue with the prophecy, which is... Well, I'll save that for my spoiler notes at the end. So basically, they get... Kong brings Godzilla down. Mm-hmm. They have a knockdown, drag him out fight.
Yep.
And they take it to the surface world.
Correct. That's the summary of it.
Yeah. So they take it to the surface world. The humans stay behind, thank God, and stay in Hollow Earth.
They do. And
I didn't even care. The monsters are
care.
in the surface. Mm-hmm. That's where we get the scene at the beach where Scar is like that's where we're in Rio. We're
right.
in the final act of the film. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the final fight on the surface.
You didn't like it? I think
was
that
the least interesting fight.
Interesting. I think that would have been my favorite because it was like the 2-on-2 and then the 2-on-2 turned into 3-on-1.
I like the gravity fight better than the fight on Earth on the surface.
Okay.
They honestly didn't need to bring them all back to the surface.
I knew it was coming only because I was like, this scene from the movie hasn't happened yet. Yeah. So that's how I knew that they were going to make it. That's how I knew Scar and baby Godzilla, I don't remember name, was going to, or should I say Ice Godzilla, was going to make it to the surface because we hadn't seen that from the trailer. I was like, at what point do we get the beach hollering scene?
So they break the little crystal that Scar uses to control Shimu, the ice-breathing dragon. And the three of them team up to beat Scar. The ice-breathing dragon freezes him
while Kong is holding him,
and Kong slams him on the ground and breaks his body up into little frozen monkey chunks all over the city of Rio.
And Rio is not a cold location, so they eventually
it's gonna
melt.
and stink up pretty bad.
And I'm pretty sure a couple apartment buildings probably got jacked up.
Yeah. So everything in Rio is now completely covered in monkey parts, which is gross.
Not only monkey parts, but quite a few city blocks got jacked up in the process.
So it's also gone.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
The only thing left in Rio is probably the statue.
Just on the beach side, though.
Yeah.
The inner city's probably good, but close to the beach, definitely nasty.
Yeah.
Definitely nasty. But I like the last battle, probably because it was like a 4-on, you know, it was a big fight and everybody was throwing each other around and using all their superpowers, and we finally got Godzilla powered up at least a couple of times. But I would have liked more Godzilla throughout the movie to where the last fight was where he was doing the most.
They didn't justify pink Godzilla. I was waiting for them to justify why is he pink. So in the movie they explain he's pink because he evolved. He's the more radiation he absorbs, the stronger he gets, and he evolves and changes. His body he gets like extra spikes or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they said that he needed to build it up because he's expecting something big to come. But
which would have been Scar.
It didn't seem like Godzilla got any stronger because he didn't get beat up.
No.
So
the man was fine the whole movie.
It seemed like Godzilla was at more risk fighting Mechagodzilla than he was at fighting Scar. So he definitely didn't get beat up, but he didn't get like any new special, like the pinkness didn't come with any special abilities. It turned his.
He did that thing where he like powered up, turned pink, and then he would like exhale and explode his like nuclear power. What bothered me about the final scene or the final battle was the fact that Godzilla didn't even help deliver the final blow.
Yeah, it was Shimu and Kong. This was like Godzilla didn't need to be in this movie.
I was like, I thought that Kong was going to hold him up. Shimu froze him, and then I thought Godzilla was going to fire his pink beam and blow him into pieces. But Kong just slammed him on the ground. And I was like, oh, y'all could have did that a little differently.
I think the only reason they put Godzilla in these movies is to get people to see them. I don't think that they
but design them so well just to waste them like that.
I don't think it must be that there's not enough interest in just Kong that they don't think people will see, because this could have just been a Kong movie. It could have been a movie. This could have been the standalone sequel to Skull Island.
Yep.
Where we just follow Kong discovering his new home and liberating these other apes that he's found. It didn't have to include Godzilla at all because Godzilla's name being the first name on the poster, he's barely in this movie.
It's definitely more of a Kong New Empire movie.
We see Shimu more than we see Godzilla.
It feels like it for sure. And the movie ends with Godzilla going back to sleep in the Rome Coliseum, chilling. Because
that's now his bed
for some
and it looks like a doggy bed.
It does.
He sleeps in it like a doggy bed.
It looks like he's too big to be in it. Honestly,
he like curls up and lays in
right.
there.
So he goes back to being a protector of the surface world, and then Kong, baby Kong, and Shimu go down to release the slaves from slavery.
Kong goes to free the slaves.
He goes to be Moses. Essentially. Yeah. And that's how the movie ends. But as we wrap up here, what would you change about this movie?
I would remove Godzilla.
Okay.
And I would just make it a Kong movie. Kong, the New Empire.
I would have...
But I don't think it would have made as much money. And that's probably why they threw Godzilla in there.
I would have had more... I would have changed the plot and to where Godzilla was more involved. I feel like it would have been a better plot if you took out the whole tribe situation and where the threat was not just a Scar, but there was also a threat of a Godzilla as well.
You know what should have happened?
It should have been like...
They should have got rid of the tribe, and it should have been the apes sending a signal, the distress signal.
Yeah.
The enslaved apes who clearly are smart enough. They all know sign language. They all talk.
They know they've not been treating well.
They know what. Well. Yeah. The institution of slavery has developed without mankind having to be involved at all.
With very large apes.
It's some Planet of the Apes stuff going on down there. So they're clearly smart enough to know how to communicate. I think the apes should have been the one sending the distress signal. Kong should have been the one being driven crazy by not knowing what's going on,
and
but he has this intuition.
Godzilla?
No
just saying no Godzilla at all.
The humans, sure, because the humans are there to operate the gateways between surface and hollow earth. Or we needed humans in there just so there would be some type of dialogue, sure. But Godzilla, I enjoy Godzilla.
Yeah.
But plot-wise, he didn't do much.
Yeah. We definitely got more Godzilla in the Legacy of Monster.
So that's what I would change. I would get rid of the native tribe. I would get rid of Godzilla. I would just make this Kong discovering the new empire and having to defeat the king. Yeah,
because I was like,
but toys. They got to sell the toys.
I don't know how many Godzilla toys they sell. Well, he's
every
pink.
new color.
So you're right. Yeah, what else would I change?
Oh, and they got to sell the Godzilla. I'm sorry, they got to sell the King Kong action figure with the detachable rocket arm.
The arm was ridiculous. So Kong gets his hand frozen from Shimu while he's still under control from Scar. And they have this prototype that they created before they got shut down to give Kong augmentations if needed.
It's called the Beast.
And the way that they fly in this hand, and it's like the most super futuristic technology.
To Tony Stark's mixtape.
Basically, they play Tony Stark's mixtape and give him an Iron Man suit on his hand. And the way the thing opens is like an Iron Man suit. And then like, y'all, this thing is huge. It's too heavy to move this fast.
Yeah, so the Beast is an acronym. It stands for Bio-Enhanced Anatomic Seismic Thunder. That means nothing. I just read 5 words that mean nothing.
I wasn't a fan of the arm because of how they introduced it. I'm like, I get it. Kong is not real. Godzilla's not real. This is a monster movie. Why are we putting a
Rock'em Sock'em robot in a monster movie?
On a monster.
Why are we turning King Kong into a Rock'em Sock'em robot?
It moves like it's a piece of paper because it folds and opens and snaps. I'm just like, this ain't the arc reactor.
It floated.
It's got to be.
It was almost like it was operated by Jarvis because they airlift it in, they drop it, it flies and floats itself over to King Kong, attaches. It's like the Iron Man suit.
It is.
Yeah, it's like Tony Stark's armor that flies and attaches to him and like forms around his body before he got the nanotech suit. This is what this is.
It just threw me off because like I know this is heavy. I know this thing has to be heavy.
This is a monkey. This is a monkey, and you just put a piece of machinery on its body. It doesn't just automatically know how to use it because humans don't.
He doing this movie.
Humans get new cell phones, and they don't know. It's like introducing them to a new device.
We switched from Windows to iOS, and we just like what?
Yeah, so I thought that was funny. And my next note is they turned him into Optimus Primal.
Pretty much.
If you're a fan of Transformers Beast Wars, Optimus Primal is the ape version, the gorilla version of Optimus Prime.
Yeah, it was it was interesting. I would have took the whole hand thing out. It wasn't as cool as they tried to make it in the trailers.
They gotta sell them toys.
In my opinion.
Rachel House, who plays Topaz in Thor Ragnarok, who is Grandmaster, played by Jeff Goldblum's henchwoman, who has like the funny one-liners.
Yes.
And gives him his melting stick.
Yes.
She was in this movie. She played the director of operations.
Something like that.
At Monarch. I knew her immediately as the first time I saw her. I was like, hey.
I recognized her face, but until you said it, I didn't clock it.
Fala Chen also is in this movie. You may know her from Shang-Chi. She played Shang-Chi's mom. That was killed. Fala Chen was basically the leader of the indigenous people of Hollow Earth.
You're okay. Okay, I'm seeing it.
Yeah. Kong fought the Midgar Samir from Final Fantasy Rebirth.
Jesus.
There's a scene in the movie where Baby Kong doesn't really trust Kong yet like that because he's an outsider, so he deliberately leads him to like a river that's obviously guarded by the sea serpent, and we knew because he like gives like dodgy looks back and forth.
That scene was cool because they animated CGI'd whatever Baby Kong's like looking sketchy,
like a bad child,
real good. That was real good.
And King Kong has to fight like this giant serpent, so we get 2 giant serpents in this movie.
Yeah, all the monster fight scenes. Good.
And the monsters looked good.
Yes, agree. So Scar has this, I don't know what you call it, whip, sash, rope thing with the crystal on the end. It's like this
bone whip with like a flail.
Yeah, it's like, I guess it's a spine. The whip
spine
looks
of
like
something.
a spine of something that was very
Like a
large.
snake or something.
Snake, dragon, something. And the crystal's on the end, but he's whipping it around like Go-Go from
Kill Bill.
Go-Go Yabari from Kill Bill Volume 1. And I was like, I'm getting Kill Bill flashbacks watching him. I mean, he's literally he beating Kong up.
Yeah.
But he flipping it.
But that's based in science. Apes know how to craft.
Well, okay.
They've shown apes can craft and make. I mean, Scar,
and they're also martial artists, apparently.
Scar is like between ape and Neanderthal. Like he's right on the cusp of evolution where it's like, are you a person?
Yeah. You've been up there before, haven't you, sir?
You know, human mannerisms were, I thought it was funny.
You've watched some Westerns.
Not complaints, but I was just observing like, you are way too human-like to be. He's more evolved than King Kong, which made it funnier.
Which is probably why he running them slaves down there.
Yeah. He's the one who introduced the institution of slavery.
Yeah, exactly.
So he has been to the surface.
He's He's Pharaoh, and ape Kong is Moses. Yeah. I'm calling it.
In every Godzilla movie, there's always a submarine because they have to have a part of the military that monitors Godzilla while he's in the ocean. I have another note of a ridiculous moment. There's a moment where the submarine is like tracking Godzilla, and Godzilla just pops up behind them and shoots his cannon, and he catches them by surprise. I'm like, you're a sub.
Yeah.
The whole point of submarines is that you don't have vision underwater, so you have to use sonar.
There's no beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, nothing. You have to use sonar to detect when there are things in the water. But they did not detect. They failed to notice Godzilla sneak up behind them.
They also survived.
And they survived. Well, because he doesn't deliberately kill humans.
Well, I'm saying knocking out Timu down there. What's the monster's name?
Tiamat.
There it is.
Yeah.
And they somehow remain unscathed. I'm like, no, just how he be killing people walking to the street. Market
people in the sub
upstairs, the people in the sub should not have survived.
Yeah, absolutely.
But whatever.
I mean, radiation alone should have cooked them.
Something.
How close? Just because Godzilla's beam does not hit you does not mean he's not
kickback.
He's not Cyclops.
Right.
He's not like he can't just hit the person next to you. There's some type of heat or radiation that's coming off of that.
And he clearly don't care because when he be walking topside, he just be busting down bridges and streets and valleys and everything.
Like it's like a microwave. Like
yes,
the radiation alone should have cooked everybody in that sub.
He got some kickback on everything he does. But okay.
And my last note was the wall of exposition.
They had to because the monsters couldn't talk. So they had to explain us what was going on.
So there's a scene in the movie where right after they discover the indigenous tribe in Hollow Earth, the tribespeople take them to like this chamber that has like their cave markings.
Yes.
Their cave markings in this like sacred chamber. And
it's like hieroglyphic.
Well, no, they're not, because I had that in my note too.
I'm really fumbling that word.
They're not hieroglyphics.
There it is.
They're just cave markings of people. There's no
pictures.
There's no language.
Yeah, they're more like picture art.
Yeah, it's like picture art on the wall. And she's a scientist. Now, archaeologists in the real world.
Yeah.
In archaeology, when they discover something new, like hieroglyphics or ruins.
Yeah, bones, markings, things of that nature.
When they see them for the first time, they don't just know what they say. Like it takes time. They have to take pictures. They have to cross-reference it. This is an entirely undiscovered civilization. So you have to take this. You have to cross-reference it with other languages throughout history that are
take it up topside so you can analyze.
That are close to it.
Google something.
You have to carbon date it.
Yeah.
To figure out how old it is. Yeah. And you have to cross-reference a lot of stuff to figure out what hieroglyphics mean.
There's a process.
I can't learn Egyptian. And if you throw me in a pyramid, I can just tell the entire story. I can just give you an entire vocal history of all of Egypt because I looked at a couple of, hieroglyphics. That's not how that works. But she got the whole world. First time she's ever seen these cave markings. Yeah. She's got the whole history of the world down pat.
Yeah. And she tells it. She's basically
like narrating to us.
She gives us the end of the movie in about 30 seconds reading this wall. And we're like, okay.
So just make the monsters magical.
Yeah.
Get rid of the science. Stop trying to do sciencey stuff because this is not science.
It's exactly what they did in Ghostbusters, where there was this one object and then they had to tell us the whole history because they didn't want to do a very good job of showing us.
Y'all spent all this time. This isn't the first Monsterverse movie. It's like the fourth.
Fifth. This is the fifth.
So you spent all this time up to now explaining with science why these things exist.
And now we're going to throw in some random tribe.
It's not even like they threw in the magic. They just got rid of the science. There's no like science. There's no Godzilla was made from it. This doesn't align with the legacy anymore.
I don't know where legacy fits in any of this, honestly.
I just thought I
hope it doesn't now that I've seen this.
And
just be its own separate thing.
So she's reading the hieroglyphics at the wall, and she's basically reading the script of the movie. She's literally just reading the script. And she tells us how it's going to end.
Yes.
They do the same thing that they did in what movie did we just watch? Ghostbusters.
Yeah, where they told us how he got trapped in the little thing and how you had to defeat him and all that. They literally told us the end of the movie.
They literally told us the rest. No, that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of a bad movie.
I mean, we didn't think Ghostbusters was that good, so...
It was Madam Web.
Oh, yeah, well.
Madam Web, where they told you the whole movie. There's a part in Madam Web where she tells you the last chunk of the movie.
Yeah, before she has the vision.
Right before she has the vision about the Coca-Cola sign.
Yeah.
This is that part in the movie. This is where we get into Madam Web territory.
Read the script line for line. Like, dang, girl, you spoiled it.
Right. So she's telling us, she's reading the oral history like, there was once a time where they called Godzilla the Star Eater, and he fought the Scar King, and he fled and trapped the Scar King's people down here. And then, so we're like, okay, you're giving this backstory, but then she crosses over into the rest of the movie.
And then to defeat him,
right? And then,
A, B, and C. Like, girl, you spoiled
she's
it.
like, so then they prophesized that how did you prophesize that the last remaining survivor of the Erie tribe, how did you prophesize a natural disaster was going to occur on Skull Island, wipe out the Erie tribe, believe one girl who was destined to come down. It's not how prophecies work. Who was destined to come down to wake up Mothra. It was so convoluted.
It was so the script.
She got all of that from reading this wall, and lo and behold, that's literally how the movie plays out.
I hope this doesn't become a thing where a character tells us the end of the movie as we're getting to the end of the movie. Because you're right, Madam Web did that, Ghostbusters did that, and now this movie did that. And I was like, just do it.
As a writer, you're either doing that because you think that you've written something too confusing, which if you feel that you have, you should go back and fix that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to include this type of scene.
Yeah.
Or you're doing that because you feel like at this point of the film, we're losing the audience, so we have to tell them what's coming up.
So they not be so restless.
That also means you should go back and you should fix what you wrote.
I don't know.
Because this scene should not be here.
Yeah, that's a good, interesting part.
Could you imagine in Infinity War?
No.
If somebody read some cave markings that said that Thanos was going to throw Gamora off the cliff. Was like,
you'd be like, excuse me?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you're right. I hope that is not a thing that becomes a trend. Please don't do it. Just show me. You ain't got to tell me first.
Okay, so who would like this movie? If you liked any of the other Monsterverse movies, you'll like this movie. Agree. Absolutely.
It's entertaining.
It's the same.
Yes,
it's the same. Would I call it missable? No, because the monster fights are good. But I will say that in 2024, we're in the era of like people doing like movie watch-alongs and reactions online and stuff like that. And the best parts of the movies are going to be the monster fights that'll be uploaded on YouTube.
But you know what I would say? I feel like they're worth a theater experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's big. And we went to see Moonfall in Dolby. So please, we are not like
elitist.
Yeah, exactly. We are not uppity nerds.
We will see a movie, even if we know the plot gonna suck.
And we'll defend it.
And pay for a premium screen.
Yeah, we'll defend it.
Just because we want to see the big hot mess and loud and in as big a screen we can find.
I posted last night. I said Godzilla was a long, loud movie, and they said you didn't like it. I said, say that.
Yeah, right.
It was long and loud.
It was, and that's what we pay for. We pay for loud.
It was good. It was long and loud.
Right. Exactly.
So, favorite line or favorite scene? Did you have one?
My favorite fight was the Egypt fight because Godzilla was beating Kong's behind and Kong wasn't trying to fight. It was just the perfect of let that man up, and Godzilla like, no, I'm actually not.
Okay, so let's do a couple things.
Okay.
So you did favorite fight. I'll do mine. My favorite fight was the floating fight, which I mentioned before. Did you have a favorite monster in this movie? Favorite new monster?
Okay.
Because we get a couple new ones. We get Tiamat, we get the giant crab, we get Shimu, we get Scar. Do we get anybody else?
I like Scar.
I like Scar.
Like, I didn't like, of course I wanted him to die, and I hate the fact that he was enslaving them people, but the way they designed Scar was very cool, and I was just I
want to see the motion capture.
Oh, he was way too cocky about it. Yeah. He was just real cocky, and I was like, he's doing this very well.
So they give, at the beginning of the film, when they give Kong a tooth extraction, they replace it with a filling.
Yes.
A composite, like a human, that they joke was made out of like armored, the side of like a ship or something, because they needed something strong enough to be a giant monkey tooth. So they made it out of like vibranium.
Basically.
But when he goes down and when Kong meets Scar for the first time, Scar looks in his mouth and sees a composite and turns around to the rest of the monkeys and laughs.
Yeah, and so all the monkeys start cracking up.
Because Kong is like the first monkey they've ever seen that doesn't have like a real tooth. I thought that was funny. So they gave Scar like a lot of personality.
And they actually circled back because when they go in the last final fight, Kong knocks his tooth out.
And Kong knocks his tooth out. And I think it's the same tooth.
Yes, it is. It is.
So I like that.
I like the other, like the baby Kong was cool. I liked when
he used Baby Kong to beat up.
Oh, that was crazy.
He used Baby Kong as like a weapon to beat up the other monkeys. He was
flinging that monkey around like a bat. I was like, sir, this feels like animal abuse.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we all monsters here, but this is taking it a little too far.
And my favorite regular scene would be the tooth extraction, which was Trapper's entrance.
That was a good one. Do I have another one that I like that was different? I like the scene of them going to Hollow Earth, because it seemed very chaotic, and it seems like a situation where no matter how many times you do it, it's chaos and you cannot prepare for it.
It reminded me of Endgame, when Steve went to space for the first time.
Yes.
And he couldn't believe his like mind melted because he's like, I'm from the 1950s. And I'm in space jumping through a hyperjet. And we get to see his expression through his eyeball of him just like freaking out. And we got that. It was a lot longer.
Yes, and a little more chaotic. Yeah. Or like when Miss Marvel went to space for the first time and she's like,
it was kind of like in Guardians 2 when Rocket and Groot was like, we got to hit 27 jump points back to back.
Oh, and
Yondu was like, that's stupid. Why would we do that?
Yes, and their faces like bend and meld and match. It was a lot like that. So I like that scene. I also like the pilot dude before he got killed.
I enjoyed him until he turned into a douche, and I was like,
He did, which they didn't have to do.
They didn't do it naturally. It felt out of character for him to turn into the bad guy all of a sudden.
Right.
Because he seemed annoyed.
Right. He seemed like the annoying, but he seemed like the annoying caretaker. Like he loves everybody and he has good intentions. He's just a little cranky.
He did not seem mean until he was completely mean.
Right.
And I think they did that just so you didn't feel bad when he died, but
because nobody seemed, and the characters didn't seem to feel bad.
It would have been more impactful if he was nice and then he died.
Right.
So you just wasted a character.
Yeah, that was interesting. I thought
that was bad, but this was made by Adam Wingard.
Right.
And final words about the movie and our rating. I will say this. There was applause in our theater. Loud applause.
My very last note, applause at the end. So when
applause in all caps with a question mark and an exclamation mark. Because what?
The movie went off, the credits started rolling, and the audience started clapping. And I was like, I'm sorry? And it wasn't just like a random clap in the front or a random clap way in the back.
Applause.
The whole theater, as if somebody just won an award, started clapping. I was like, oh.
No after credit scene, no tease or promise for the future.
It wasn't even like cool. It wasn't even a cool rolling credit scene. You know how Marvel has a good end credits?
No like end credit graphics, nothing.
Zero. And them people was clapping it up. I was like, oh, this about to do good.
It don't take much. It don't take much.
No.
And these are not slowing down.
No.
They're not going away.
They got action. Some of the human parts was a little slow, but when the monsters came in, it was It was action.
This is what Jerry Bruckheimer should have been talking about when he was like, "Oh, it's easy because you don't have to wait on actors." No, these movies don't really have actors.
They don't need them.
CGI monsters.
Literally,
so
they have no actors.
You don't even have to take a break.
Right.
For these, you can just push these out back to back. So.
Right. So for that, I'm gonna say worth the theater.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't love it. I actually think I like Godzilla X Kong or versus Kong better.
King of Monsters is still my favorite one because it has the most monsters.
Is King of Monsters the first Millie Bobby Brown one?
No.
Or the second one?
King of Monsters is the Vera Farmiga one.
Okay.
Yeah. First Millie Bobby Brown. I forgot Vera Farmiga was her mom.
So it's the second one.
King of Monsters is the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, do I like that one better?
Yeah.
You're probably right.
For me, it goes King of Monsters, Godzilla X Kong.
Okay.
And then the first Godzilla.
Okay.
2014 with Gareth Edwards.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Now, let's not all forget the Godzilla version that had Matthew Broderick in it. I also like that one.
That's a classic fave. Yeah. That goes up there with like The Mummy.
It's not well rated, but so I would say, actually, let me take that back. Skirt. Skull Island would be top for me. Then everything else.
Where would I put Skull Island? We have to do a ranking at some point.
Okay.
Because I feel like, you know what? Skull Island would probably be...
I feel like Skull Island's my favorite.
Third for me. That would push Godzilla 2014 down one. So for me, it would go King of Monsters because it has more monsters.
Okay.
Then Godzilla X Kong because Godzilla versus Kong.
Okay.
And it had great visuals, even though everybody in Tokyo is dead because of that movie.
Everybody in Rio is dead in this one.
Yeah, we're running out of places. What are they going to destroy next?
I don't know. New York.
Paris.
It's always
They already did New York.
Oh.
Well, no, that was San Francisco.
See?
No, they haven't done New York. It's going to be New York
Miami.
next. New York is going to be Endgame. That's going to be the last one.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay,
and our rating, I would give this 3 Nicole Kidmans.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to fight it. Yeah. I would even give it a 3 point. I don't know what, just for clarity, I don't know what I rate the last movie, so I'm not rating
it. Like a 2.8 or something.
I'm talking right. Okay, there you go. I was going to say, I don't remember. So if I gave Dune like a 3 and I'm giving this a 3.2, don't hold it to my, relax. Yeah. I don't remember what I did last movie.
I work on a subtraction scale. Everything starts out at 5 and then I subtract based on the things that come across.
I'm not going movie to movie to compare ratings against movies. So I'm going to give this a 3.2.
I removed a full point because I felt like adding Godzilla for the sake of just having him in the movie did not do the story justice. Yeah. I feel like it would have been a better movie if it was just about King Kong. Because clearly, and even in the Godzilla X versus Kong one, whoever makes these movies loves Kong more than any other monster in the universe.
They not Team Godzilla.
Even though Godzilla is the most successful monster, whoever makes these movies likes using Kong more. It's kind of like the Batman v Superman. It's like y'all clearly pay more attention to Batman than Superman.
Yeah.
So I have to remove that. 1 point for that.
Okay.
And the humans, once again, way too much time. Way too much time.
Somebody need to find the legacy balance.
I would rather just give us like monsters only in subtitles.
Of what they thinking and what they saying.
Give us like subtitles of like what they're thinking and saying.
That ain't go.
I don't need a human to
You need at least one. You need at least one or two.
It's funny because we always, every time one of these movies come out, monster movies or Transformers movies or any movie where there's a giant thing and there's tiny people.
Right.
The complaint is always there's too many people, but then it's like you need the people, but they still can't seem to find the perfect balance.
Legacy of Monsters
between people and the giant things that we actually want to see.
But Legacy of Monsters had way more time to flesh all that out. This is just a 2-hour movie. Legacy of Monsters was 8 episodes?
Maybe they just tried to do too much. Maybe the indigenous people and Kong and his society of monks, like those are separate movies. And Godzilla
and Mothra
ramping up for his next, and Mothra
and Shimu.
Way too many. They were making this movie like this was gonna be the last chance they had to do it.
Maybe because they don't know how things are gonna shake out till the movie come out. So maybe.
Any more thoughts?
No, check it out. in theaters. I say it's worth Dolby just for the sound. This is definitely more of a don't wait for streaming. If you think you want to see this, I would say go to the theaters. If you were kind of meh, then you're probably fine with it.
We couldn't see this in 4D. We tried. So
yeah, we wanted to see this in Prime with the shaky seats and stuff.
If you were able to see this in Prime or 4D, please let us know your experience so we can know what we missed out on.
Right.
Did you have any other thoughts?
Nope, that's it. So I'm going to say thanks for listening. If you like our show, please share it. If you can leave us a review, you can do that on Apple Podcasts or on our website at vaguelynerdypodcast.com. where you can also leave us a voicemail that better be nice or we won't play it on the show. But if it is nice, we will. You can also follow us on Twitter at vaguelynerdypod or IG at vaguelynerdypodcast. And if email is your thing, you can email us at vaguelynerdypodcast@gmail.com.
All right, until next time.
Peace. Oh, we didn't say what movie we were doing next.
Oh, they're still here. They're still listening.
We'll edit that little break out. What movie are we doing next?
Monkey.
Man.
Monkey.
Man.
Is it Monkey Man?
I think it is. Is it not Monkey Man?
Is it not Monkey King?
No, you just made that up. Dev Patel is in... It's Monkey Man.
Too many monkey things back to back.
It is. So next episode, we will watch Monkey Man.
Planet of the Apes, Monkey Man.
Thanks for listening. Bye.